Welcome back to another video from Brummy on Fusion My Way, also known as How to Piss Off an Engineer. We'll take the box that we worked on in the previous video and we'll clean it up just a little bit. You notice that all these corners are sharp 90-degree corners, sides to the ends are 90 degrees to each other, sides to the bottom are 90 degrees to each other, which is perfectly fine and would work for many applications. But to make it look a little bit better and add a little bit of strength, we're going to add some fillets, round off those corners really quickly. So to do that, we press F on our keyboard for fillet, and we select those corners that we want to take the edge off of. Our walls are 2 millimeters thick, so how about we try a 2 millimeter fillet on those? And you can see how when I clicked on each of those corners, the line turned blue and it popped up a box for me to put in the radius of the fillet that I want. So I'm going to put in 2 millimeters. And we can see that knocked it off and made a nice rounded edge there. If we go to our inspect tool, measure, the ruler, and let's zoom in here and click on that radius that we just made, we can see that the radius is 2 millimeters. 2 times 2 is 4, gives us a diameter of 4. So we close that. But notice that the inside corners didn't automatically fill it with that. We'll cover another video on a different way to make some radiuses that we might be able to address that with. But for this one, let's just press F on our keyboard again for fillet. Inside corner turned blue. Click on the second corner inside, blue, third, and fourth corner. So make that 2 millimeters again here. So specify the radius value. So we want 2 millimeters. And there we have the inside with a radius or a fillet as well. Now what looks odd is we know that this wall is 2 millimeters thick, but this looks more than 2 millimeters from the inside to the outside corners where we've rounded them off with a fillet. So let's go to our inspect, measure, either from the drop down or if you have a shortcut, the shortcut. Click on the ruler. And let's go from move our mouse until our cursor shows us the line. We click on that, changes to blue. Go to the opposite one, we click on that, and we see that our distance isn't 2 millimeters. The minimum distance is 2.472. The distance the longest distance is 2.828. Well, that doesn't seem to make sense until you consider you're pushing this corner in a little bit, rounding it, and this one out just a little bit, rounding it, where it's measuring from the center of this arc to the center of this arc. So what we want to do instead is let's go down here and let's edit that first fillet. Use our home icon to get our orientation back where we see the entirety of our drawing in there of the object we made. And let's go back to this first fillet. We know our wall thickness is 2, and we know that we want this constant radius once we get this inside fillet right here done to be 2. So it goes 2 around the outside, distance from here is 2 to the inside. So what you want to do with fillets is you want to add the wall width to your radius. So since this is a 2 millimeter fillet, then a radius of the fillet, then we want to add our wall thickness, which we know is 2 millimeters. 2 plus 2 is 4. And we hit enter. And now if we inspect this, again, our ruler for our measure tool, we go from here to here, we're back at 2 millimeters. So it's a constant 2 millimeters all the way around the outside. That's important for maintaining the maximum amount of room on the inside of the box, as well as just looking right. So now we can hit close. One thing I would note here on these interior fillets, if I go down in my history on fillet 2, and I double click on that, I didn't mention it before, I think the standard default is a rolling ball fillet. Let's make the setback, make it a setback instead. And if we hover over this, the setback blends rounded corners into adjacent faces. The rolling ball combines rounded edges at the corner. So I think the difference is the setback pushes it back a little bit on an inside fillet so that you maximize the room and still have a nice rounded shape. So let's leave it on setback. But let's go up here and let's add another fillet. We see we didn't put a fillet around the bottom here. And this will add a little bit of strength on the box on the inside. So to add another fillet, we're editing this one. Let's just add a fillet. Click on the inside, each line, and then let's just make that 2 and leave it as a setback. And now we can see that all of our intersecting edges of the different planes or the different sides and the bottom are all filleted with a 2mm fillet. And we press OK. The last thing I like to do, like I said in the previous video, I started doing this in order to 3D print project boxes and things like that, or little storage boxes. This edge is going to print on the bottom and it's going to come off the printer pretty sharp. Not a big deal in most cases. You can knock that edge down with a little bit of sandpaper or a chamfering tool, but we could fillet this to round it off, make it a little bit smoother as well. But instead, why don't we chamfer it? Just to show you the chamfer tool. So the chamfer is up under Modify. You can either have the shortcut for chamfer, or from the drop down you can click on chamfer. I have the shortcut. So now that all of these corners are rounded, when I go to select that edge I want to chamfer, it selects the entire thing. And then let's just say make it a 0.6mm chamfer. Hit enter. And now we can see, if we zoom in here, that we chamfered this corner 0.6mm. That's just a really basic chamfer. We may cover other types of chamfers in the future. This is small enough that it should print with no problems, and you shouldn't need to use any support. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you find this helpful. If you have ideas or questions, please feel free to comment, and I'll respond as I get time. Thanks.